it's been 12 months with our 2018 Kia Stinger GT2 long-term tester, which means that sadly it's time to say goodbye to our beloved Jerry Stinger here. So let's hit the road for one last ride and dig into everything that we've learned over the past few months. But first, let's talk about one small annoyance. Now, we all like the fastback design, and in theory, the hands-free smart liftgate should be a huge convenience feature. But it has a bad habit of automatically activating when I'm back here just pumping gas. So let's get that turned off and hit the road. Filling it up, we've been averaging between 18 and 24 miles per gallon this year, depending on who's behind the wheel and what they're doing in the Stinger that week, which is pretty good considering the EPA estimates around 21 miles per gallon combined for the all-wheel drive Stinger with the V6 engine. I'm actually surprised that we actually got as good or better than the EPA's estimates, considering that, well, pretty much everybody who hops behind the wheel of this thing immediately slaps it into sport mode in order to better take advantage of the 365 horsepower. And our auto stop-start system for fuel saving has been pretty much turned off since we got the thing. Plus, the V6 engine sounds and feels so good that it's really hard not to be a little bit lead-footed and keep your foot in it just to enjoy the sound. So it should come as no surprise then that performance is one of our favorite parts of the Stinger's formula. From the V6 to the sharp handling to the really strong Brembo brakes, we've got almost no complaints about the Stinger's performance. Well, almost. At around 8,000 miles, I did notice a little bit of shake from the Brembo brakes, which is probably due to us getting a little impatient and maybe not respecting the break-in period as well as we should have. Either way, between us noticing the shake, but before we actually had a chance to get down there and do anything about it, it actually worked itself out. And now this big sexy beast stops strongly and smoothly. Now, the all-wheel drive system didn't get much of a workout in often dry California despite today's conditions, which left me spending most of the year wishing that we'd instead gotten the rear-wheel drive version, which is a little bit lighter and a little bit more dynamic around corners. Now, our Amy Hall actually did put the all-wheel drive system to the test when she took the Stinger to snowy Colorado over the holidays after shoeing it up with some winter tires. And she reported back that the system performed admirably over snow and ice, and even when stopping and starting on a hill. So it's actually a pretty good system, I'd reckon. Now, subjectively speaking, I really like the fastback, liftback design of this 2018 Stinger. And I really like the way that Kia's design language maps over its smooth silhouette. My neighbors also seem to like it, and I've noticed that at least once a week somebody comes up to me and goes, "Hey man, nice car," or "Hey, is that your Stinger? It's pretty sweet." And I've never gotten so much positive feedback from people in a test car. Not when I was in a BMW M5, not in the Audi S7, heck, not even in the Porsche Panamera. And I think that has a lot to do with the Stinger sort of living in that sweet spot between being desirable in its performance and style, but also still pretty attainable because of the Kia badges at either end. I think regular people can see themselves in this car, and that means that I, the person who's actually sitting in this car, look less like a douchebag in a sports car. But I gotta say, for as much positive feedback as I've gotten, I haven't seen very many Stingers on the road, maybe only one or two over the year of our testing. In fact, most of the time when I think I see a Stinger, it actually ends up being an Optima SX, which is a pretty good car, but not the sort of mistaken identity that I want to get in my $50,000 Kia. Which brings me to the next point. At least one member of our staff has expressed some hesitation at the Stinger's price tag, and I get it. $50,000 for this fully loaded GT2 is a lot to ask for a car with a Kia badge on the front. But when you consider the amount of performance, the technology inside and out, and the equipment that you're getting for that price, it actually looks pretty good compared to a comparably equipped BMW or Audi, which would cost between $10,000 and $15,000 more. And factor in that there's not a whole lot in the rear-wheel drive sports sedan space from the volume brands to compete directly with the Stinger, and I think that we've got a vehicle here that's priced fairly. In fact, it actually ends up being a pretty good deal. If I were personally shopping for a premium midsize sports sedan, the Stinger would be on my very short list. Though I don't know if I'd go with the GT2 model that we have here. I would go with the mid-tier GT with rear-wheel drive. And that's going to get me the V6 performance that I like, but with a lighter rear-wheel drive configuration. I don't really have to worry too much about technology because the only dashboard tech that I care about, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, is standard across the board. Though I would upgrade to the limited slip differential for a little bit more of a performance edge. That's something you can only get with rear-wheel drive. And if you care about safety technology, or maybe you just want the convenience of adaptive cruise control while commuting, go ahead and pay a little bit extra to get Kia's DriveWise Safety Suite. That'll bring you to a recommended price of around $42,000, about 10 grand less than what we got here. So with all that in mind, would we still recommend this Roadshow Shift Award winner after a year in the saddle? Well, hell yeah, we would. The Stinger is an amazing looking car with fantastic performance, and on top of that, it's a pretty good value. I mean, what's not to like about it? Heck, I don't want to give this one back. But it's time for old Jerry to go. So with that, we bid goodbye to our 2018 Kia Stinger GT2 long-term tester. We're gonna miss you, buddy. Gonna miss you.